to me.
That were people that knew people on the show?
Yes, and a lot of the bloggers have even stated a lot of the ladies did call them to ask about me.
There were people that knew people on the show. Yes, and a lot of the bloggers have even stated a lot of the ladies did call them to ask about me. A mysterious blogger conspiracy, a miscarriage comment that still hasn't healed, and Andy Cohen himself stepping in with a warning. Today's episode is the most tangled and messy mystery of the entire RHOA reunion. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to LHH Unfiltered, the place where we break down every single reality TV moment that actually matters. No sugarcoating, no filter, just straight facts and straight tea. Today, we're talking about the most confusing and explosive segment of the RHOA reunion, where K. Michelle alleges that some woman was contacting bloggers to get information about her. And then the conversation reaches Portia's miscarriage comment, where the tension gets even more personal. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button because we bring you breakdowns this deep and this juicy every single day. Now let's get into what actually happened.
Watching the season back, what would you have done differently?
Everything.
Really?
I would have allowed for things to take place instead of trying to get in front of them.
Yeah.
I would have not listened to what outsiders were telling me about, what are you huffing and puffing about?
Because it's just so sad. Your experience was altered. I was really excited for you to come here. Like, until Phaedra, I didn't have no friend on the show. Child, I was a lone wolf. I got it bad. I felt like everybody was against me the same. I was like, oh, a fresh start. Mm-hmm. And then just to see how something might have made you close up to me and some of the girls. It's sad, I ain't gonna lie. At every turn, I just couldn't figure out a way for you to understand another way.
There was nothing no one up here could do and move me any type of way.
It was within your...
Yes, it was within
Look at this opening moment. When K. Michelle is asked what she'd do differently after watching the season back, her answer was, everything, really. I would have allowed for things to take place instead of trying to get in front of them. That's a genuinely honest admission. K. Michelle is basically saying she overreacted throughout the season, or at least reacted preemptively without waiting things out. And then that heartbreaking line, until Phaedra, I didn't have no friend on the show. I was a lone wolf. I felt like everybody was against me. Hearing that genuinely made me feel for her. Think about it. Coming onto a new show, expecting a fresh start, and then realizing you're literally alone with no allies at all. That would genuinely be an isolating experience. But then Drew's comment comes in, it was within your head. So direct, so dismissive. That's a fundamentally different perspective on this entire situation. Drew is basically saying, Kay, Michelle's isolation was a result of her own perception, not actual group behavior.
Within your
so
head.
What was being said to you that kind of like...
Who was in your head?
Like, there were outside sources that were saying things to me.
That were people that knew people on the show?
Yes, and a lot of the bloggers have even stated a lot of the ladies did call them to ask about me.
What lady called? What girl up here called a blogger?
If you knew people, wouldn't that be normal for them to be like, hey, what's the tea on K. Michelle?
Yeah, I didn't call people to say, well, how is Portia behind the scenes? How is Phaedra? I didn't do that.
Can you tell us who the people were?
I got stuff like from Nosh. And even there's a hairdresser. I know this is a group about friendship, but we can't sit up here and act like people don't go pull things on each other.
Okay. The MO from the viewers were like you would be in scene, you would run away and start
This is where the real conspiracy kicks in. K. Michelle reveals there were outside sources that were saying things to me. A lot of the ladies did call them to ask about me. That's a very serious allegation. K. Michelle is basically saying the show's women were secretly pulling information about her through bloggers. And when she's directly asked, what lady called? What girl up here called a blogger? K. Michelle's response was a bit vague. I got stuff like from NSH and even there's a hairdresser. Notice she's not giving any specific name, just mentioning generic sources. That vagueness itself is pretty suspicious. If the allegation is this serious, why isn't specific evidence being provided? But K. Michelle's defense was also valid to a certain extent. I know this is a group about friendship, But we can't sit up here and act like people don't go pull things on each other. That's an open secret in reality TV. Behind the scenes, information gathering is a genuinely common practice, whether people publicly admit it or not.
Blasting off on Twitter, I'm assuming that you regret that.
I definitely own that I had more experiences off camera
Right.
than I had on camera. For over 10 years, any thoughts or random situations within me, I've always tweeted them, good or bad. Within my career, there was no change, but instead of just tweeting how I felt, I should have sat there. People think I'm very confrontational, but I'm really...
You seem very sensitive.
Yeah,
is
I am.
what- I
I'm
mean,
really
you seem
not.
overly sensitive.
Yeah.
Why did you take Portia's miscarriage comment as her shading you?
I was only an hour out of the hospital, and I'm telling you what's going on, and you bust out and say, was it a miscarriage? You know,
In this part, K. Michelle takes accountability for her Twitter habits. I definitely owned that I had more experiences off camera than I had on camera for over 10 years. I've always tweeted them good or bad within my career. That's an interesting admission. K. Michelle is acknowledging her own pattern of publicly expressing her feelings on social media, regardless of the context. And then that powerful moment when she says, instead of just tweeting how I felt, I should have sat there. That's genuine self-reflection, where she's critically looking at her own reaction pattern. But then Drew's comment comes in and shifts the entire tone of the conversation. You seem very sensitive. I mean, you seem overly sensitive. That's a very loaded statement, especially in the context of a reality TV, where the word sensitive often gets used to dismiss someone's genuine feelings. It shows that even as K. Michelle is taking accountability, the other women are still invalidating her emotional reactions.
you know, what if it was?
Your intention was...
To usher her from the hospital into a safe space.
Okay.
I was sitting there with people who I trust. When you were telling the story, kind of went around what exactly it was. But you had talked about fertility. And I'm a woman who has had fertility issues. I'm a woman who's also had miscarriages. And you're in a group of women who have uteruses and other things like that.
This is my first time being in a circle with Phaedra and with Cynthia. And the first thing to come out with the random people on the other side of the wall getting their toes done is, did you have a miscarriage?
I represent March of Dimes, have for many, many years. My daughter is a rainbow baby. And so I really would have hoped at that time when we had that sit down, you could have understood that I was being authentic with that. Again, here now, I apologize, and I still never meant that to be that way.
I accept your apology, and in that moment when I'm speaking on it and I'm bringing it back up, I'm not saying that I crucified Portia. I was live speaking about what was going on and how I felt in that moment. I also will take accountability for that as well.
Okay, so you were tweeting like you're in a confessional.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can I give you a piece of advice?
Okay.
Don't do that.
Now this is where the most emotional and heaviest moment comes in. K. Michelle is asked why she took Portia's miscarriage comment as shade, and her answer was devastating. I was only an hour out of the hospital, and I'm telling you what's going on, and you bust out and say, was it a miscarriage? And then that deeply personal context. You're in a group of women who have uteruses. I'm a woman who has had fertility issues. I'm a woman who's also had miscarriages. My daughter is a rainbow baby. So raw, so vulnerable. That shows this comment wasn't just some random joke to K. Michelle. It directly touched her own painful fertility journey. And the timing was so sensitive since she'd left the hospital just an hour before. And when Portia apologizes, I apologize, and I still never meant that to be that way. And K. Michelle accepts it. I accept your apology. That was a genuinely mature resolution. But then the tension immediately comes right back when Andy Cohen steps in, warning K. Michelle about discussing outside information. That moment shows just how carefully managed the reunion really is. The second the conversation heads into legally or ethically risky territory, production immediately takes control. So that was an incredibly complex and layered episode of the RHOA reunion, mysterious blogger allegations, Twitter confessionals, and a deeply personal miscarriage conversation that was genuinely heartbreaking. This episode shows just how real, how raw the emotions truly are behind reality TV. Now, the biggest unanswered question is, who was actually contacting bloggers to get information about K. Michelle? And was this genuinely a coordinated effort by the group, or was it just K. Michelle's own insecurity and paranoia? Let me know what you think. Drop it in the comments because I want to hear your honest opinion. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like this video, subscribe to LHHU and Filtery D, and hit that bell icon because until this blogger mystery gets solved, a major piece of this season is still missing. See you in the next video. Until then, don't forget to prioritize your own mental health and boundaries, especially on social media. And if you're going through any kind of fertility journey yourself, just remember, you're not alone. See you next time right here on LHHU Unfiltered.